Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School 英語研究プロジェクトよくある間違いを分析します。今回の英語はですね、あれそこまでおかしいのと思ってる方が割と多いような気がしますね。でもね、こういう微妙なところを、きちんと直さないと先に進めないですよね。特にはですね、during という言葉がよく会話に、出てきますね。使い方がちょっといまいちかな、分かってるような、分かってないような方が、自分の経験から見るとですね、結構いますので、それを、テーマにしました。とにかく自信を持ってうまく使えるようになったら、会話がどんどん、スムーズになっていきます。During this video, I'll present my thoughts using the 4 logical steps. Look at the problem, the reason, the solution, and some examples. So let's get straight on to the main topic. First, let's look at the problem. I met my friends during I was in New York City. I met my friends during I was in New York City. The moment I heard this sentence, I knew something was wrong. Yes, it's that obvious. Have you ever said something like this? Maybe you even agree with me in that it just doesn't feel right. But do you know the reason why? One of the most important things in learning English is knowing the reason why we can say things one way but we can't say them another. The word during has some pretty strict rules that you have to follow. But don't worry, they're pretty easy to remember. In the next section, I'll talk about the reasons why we can't use during in this way. So, what is the word during? Well, it's a preposition. If it's a preposition, it must be followed by a noun or perhaps even a noun phrase. During is often used for an activity or an event. It has two basic meanings. The first one is a total period of time from the start until the very end. Something like during the lesson. The second meaning is at some points between the start and the end. This would be for something longer like during the summer. Here are some really common examples with nouns. During the meeting. During the party. During the test. During the night. During the vacation. During dinner. During university. With a noun phrase, it's commonly used like this. During my time in Canada. During their stay at the hotel. During the time he was away. During his stint in the army. So if we look back at the sentence, I met my friends during I was in New York City, it's a terrible sentence. I was in New York City is neither a noun or a noun phrase. Also, remember during is a preposition. And a preposition can never be followed by a clause with its own subject and verb. I was in New York City has its own subject and its own verb. Ha! So, how can we make it better? The solution to this problem is to talk about a particular period of time. I was in New York City does not give any information about it being a particular event or time period. It's just a statement. It's basically like a puzzle. My brother saw a big fight during he drank in Shinjuku. He saw a big fight? What? When? During he drank in Shinjuku. What do you mean by during? During he was in Shinjuku. You mean while he was drinking in Shinjuku? Well, yeah, that's what I said. No, you didn't. Did to, did not, did to, did not. So there are two ways we can talk about this. Using during or while. Let's focus on during. I met my friends during my trip to New York City. I met my friends during my time in New York City. I met my friends during my week in New York City. Those are very clear time periods. You can also change the order, but you need to add a comma. During my trip to New York City, I met my friends. When you want to change the order, the part that you want to focus on goes at the start, but they mean the same thing. I recommend using the first version without a comma. It's simpler and much more direct. So how about while? We can use while with almost any verb tense. It's very versatile. When talking about a story in the past, the most common tense is while plus I was plus ing, while I was doing something. I met my friends while I was visiting New York City. I met my friends while I was spending a week in New York City. I met my friends while I was staying in New York City for business. Like before, you can also change the order, but again, you need a comma. While I was visiting New York City, I met my friends. Both patterns are fine, but I think the first one is simpler and more commonly used. Let's take a look at 5 example sentences, and if you want to build up your knowledge of idioms, vocabulary, and natural expressions, watch until number 5. This part is jam-packed full of those kinds of things. Okay, the first one is this. My mother gets up multiple times during the night to go to the bathroom. Multiple times means more than one time. We're talking 2 or 3 times here. The guy next to me kept checking his phone during the movie. It was very off-putting. If something is off-putting, it means you feel uncomfortable and you can't concentrate on the movie. It doesn't make you feel good.
How was your weekend?
Pretty good, thanks. We go skiing every weekend during winter, so we hit the slopes. So, to hit the slopes means to go skiing. In Japan, you use the German word Gelände. But in English, we don't use that word. We use the word slopes or ski slopes. If you want to talk about the place as a whole, you can say the ski resort. But don't say Gelände in English. In my house, we watch TV while we have dinner. But I know it's frowned upon by some people. If something is frowned upon, it means people don't like it. They don't think it's good behavior or manners. Oh, and by the way, a frown is when your mouth goes kind of upside down. It's the opposite meaning of a smile. You have a frown, and the opposite is a smile. During my time in Japan, I have met some incredible people. And I'm sure I'm going to meet many, many more. If you want to improve your grammar, here is the grammar playlist. In this playlist, you'll find some good points how to improve your grammar. Okay, I'll see you over there. Let's go.